What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Of the people, I thank you.
Good morning. I bring you greetings from the 6th Republican President, President of the Patriotic Front, and the Chairman of the Tonse Alliance, on whose behalf I stand here. And for today, please refer to me as Who's this? Acting President of the mighty PF. It feels good to be among presidents. KK once said, lies in the morning, lies in the afternoon, and lies in the day. And lies have very long but quick days. The truth has short but steady days. And we, gathered here on behalf of Zambians, say a deceitful approach to constitutional reform is totally unacceptable. Governance by deceit must be rejected, and especially deceit in constitutional reform. After months of denial, Presidential spokesperson Clayson Hamasaka finally confirmed on Hot FM radio on 13th March 2025 that the government has already drafted a constitution amendment document, which will soon be presented to the public. This revelation exposes the government's deceitful approach to governance in general and to constitutional reform in particular. As a result of the whole process being entangled in a web of lies, on the 17th of March 2025, the Minister of Justice, Princess Kasune, contradicted not only Clayson Hamasaka, more seriously, she contradicted the Republican president. Zambians will recall that both President Hakainde and Clayson Hamasaka had both said there was a draft. And yet, Minister of Justice Kasune stated that there was no draft constitution as of now. Who is telling us the truth? Princess Kasune said there will be a roadmap provided soon. And yet on the very next day, 18th of March 2025, Foreign Affairs Minister Molambo Haimbe stated that the process of constitutional reform started in 2021 and that it was now in the last stages, and also that there was no need for a further roadmap and going back to gather people's views. This, fellow countrymen and women, shows that even amongst the ranks of the executive, there is total confusion. What the president says is contradicted by what the Minister of Justice is saying. There is no consensus whatsoever as to what the status of the constitutional reforms are. However, behind all these lies and the apparent confusion is one systematic attempt to change the constitution, not in the interest of the Zambian people, but in favor of the deceitful UPND, and they must be stopped.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen this before. It is the old record being played, trying to tamper with the Constitution so that they can get an upper hand in the next elections. Nothing else matters but that. It has been a repetitive attempt of the UPND and the president of the UPND, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to try to sneak in constitutional amendments at every opportunity they think they can get away with it. A year after forming government, you recall, and that's 2022, there were orchestrated suggestions from the UPND to change the constitution, which provided for a 5-year term of the presidency to a 7-year presidential term. That is what they wanted. There were also rumors to the effect that they wanted to do away with a term limit for the Republican president and to remove both the running mate clause as well as the 50% plus one clause. I'm sure your memories have been jolted back to those years. These were all suggestions which promoted neither the basic tenets of democracy nor the people's participation in the governance of our country. This process of constitutional reform through then Minister Honorable Justice Mulambo Jaime were quickly and unceremoniously shelved after it became clear that the church, civil society, political parties, and citizens in general showed clearly that they did not want to be deceived by being brought on board to a legitimate and non-consensual and non-transparent process. The UPND wanted a process in which control was guaranteed. There was an immediate national outcry, if you recall, against this dastardly attempt to pull the wool over the people's eyes. The people's cries were so loud and clear that the president retreated. But like a lion running to grab something to eat, he was just waiting for yet another opportunity. The next significant attempt was on the 17th of September 2024, when during the annual report by the President to the National Assembly on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles. In that address, you recall, the President indicated that there was need to amend the Constitution and suggested presidential elections could be postponed up to 7, even 8 years. I am sure your memories are. He stated that this was justification for why you would want to amend the Constitution. The lacunae or lacuna, I'm sure, became a common word for Zambians, but we know it as a wolf in sheep's clothing. We know it as an effort and attempt to try to change the Constitution to suit the UPND. We know, ladies and gentlemen, this lacunae was the wolf in sheep's clothing. And similar to the other two previous attempts, there was an immediate national outcry against this dastardly attempt to pull wool over the people's eyes. The people's cries against this were so loud and so clear that again the president retreated. But again, I want to say it was a temporal retreat. The latest attempt by the president is under the guise of proportional representation and limitation of constituency. By the way, for your information, proportional representation does not increase the number of women in parliament. It does not. What it means simply, and I'm speaking as a lawyer, is that you only have a number of members of parliament according to the percentage that of the votes that are cast for you. The rest has to be done by law. If you want true proportional representation, let the law speak to it, not the constitution as is trying to hoodwink us. Now, after failing to pull the wool over our eyes or sneak the wolf in sheep's clothing in, the President Hakainde, is now trying delimitation and proportional representation as a Trojan horse to sneak wrecking all constitutional amendments in. Remember that the underlying motive of this constitutional process is to make the UPND have the best chance of winning the coming elections. All the others are cover-ups. If there is one thing the Zambian people have always rallied around, it is jointly to fight and oppose attempts at constitutional manipulation, as is being attempted by the UPND now. It is clear that President Hakainde is engaging in serious deceit as he tries to molest our constitution and good governance. And my appeal to us and our appeal as the team behind is we must stop him as we have stopped ours. It must be stopped. So we strongly urge the government to abandon its unconstitutional plans. It is a highly dangerous and narrow-minded undertaking that will destroy this country. Take it.
Thanks for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on tech, politics, and everything in between. Until next time, stay cool.